So we have a few people logging in. We'll give them a couple of minutes so the audience fills up, and then we'll formally start the webinar. Hi, everybody. We're just going to start in a few minutes. We're going to just give them a few more minutes before starting. I can see some familiar names. As always, it's nice to see you here. Anupama, Andrea, Maria, Kanan. Just for the sake of knowing who you are, I would really encourage you to maybe write your name and write your business name in the chats so we know where you're coming from. It would also be useful for us to know what you're really hoping to get out of today's session. I'm Mariam from UAE, owner of Kids Any. Mariam, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Kids Any is a children's clothing store. I feel like I recognize that name. All right, we have a few more people coming in. Anupama from 4C Integrated Communicators. Mariam says yes, that is her brand, Kids Any, which is a children's clothing online store. And for those people who are logging in right now, please do write your name and this is in the chat. It'll be good for us to know where you're coming from, who you are. It'll be good for us to also know what you may be hoping to get out of today's session before we start. Andres, founder of Otis Jewelry. Jenny logging in from Be Well. Okay, so in the interest of time, I think we can begin, and then as more people log in, we'll probably have already started the meat and bones of the actual webinar. So good evening, all of you who've logged in. It's a pleasure to be back here again. This is module 3 of the e-commerce and dropshipping masterclass series we have going on with Creative 971. We are Creative Zone, who's bringing this webinar to you. Thank you all for joining us. So just to quickly brief you of what's happened so far, this is module 3 of the 4-part series that's been happening this month, where every week we talk to you about a specific topic of running your e-commerce business. So the first week we discussed how do you actually set up and incorporate your business in the UAE. The second week we spoke about how do you integrate payment gateways and logistics into your e-commerce business. How do you work with banks and set up an account with a bank? And now the third module, we have with us the lovely Neha Thomas, our head of marketing here at Creative Zone, and Mr. Nico Jackal from Creative 971. So Neha is going to be here today to talk about the marketing aspects of your e-commerce business. So now that you have an e-commerce business and you want to get it up and running, how do you actually build your own brand? How do you come up with a marketing and sales strategy for that brand? And so we're going to go and answer your questions. We have a list of questions received from you before this. And also, if you have questions, feel free to write them in the chat as we go along. Just to quickly brief you of what Creative 971 is, for those who are joining us for the first time, Creative 971 is a boutique digital agency, and they are the #1 rated Shopify experts in the UAE. They are owned and managed by Julia and her brother Nico Jackal. They specialize in ensuring high quality digital presence in the UAE and help brands and businesses stand out from the crowd in the region. Creative 971 are also our partners when it comes to e-commerce, anything e-commerce. So any clients who are, any members of Creative Zone who are a client of Creative Zone, you have the special discount from Creative 971 should you choose to reach out to them. And we'll type those codes in the chat. And so I can see more people logging in. I like that we have people typing on the chat where they're coming from, what kind of businesses they have. We have Christine, who's got a fashion brand and who's hoping to learn about e-commerce in the MENA region. I'm glad you logged in for that. We are going to answer that question. We have Gassia from Beirut, who's working to launch her own clothing brand. She hasn't launched yet. All right, enough of me talking. I'd like for you guys to please unmute yourselves, Neha and Nico.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
Yeah, as introduced, my name is Nico. Okay, ladies first.
Thanks, Nico. All right, as Zishan mentioned, my name is Neha Thomas. I am the head of marketing for Creative Zone. Very passionate about what we do in our field. So I'm excited about today's session about talking everything about branding and marketing. Nico, your chance.
Yeah, my name is Nico and I'm CTO and co-founder of Creative 971. And I was actually the part, that's why I'm today here as well, which we did the dropship online training. So that's why I will cover that today. And next time you will see Julia again, which is the CEO of the company.
Great.
Good to see all these questions and chats coming up. I mean, there's so many types of online businesses that's happening. And to be honest, from our experience also from Creative Zone, we saw like a huge spike in the number of e-commerce that's being set up over the last couple of months. It's like record-breaking numbers. So it's this huge demand. So if you get it right, you get it right. And there's a huge scope for this, especially in the Middle Eastern market. Right, so how do we do this now?
So now I'm just gonna, Nico, I'm gonna open up the presentation, which includes the questions which you received from the audience before. Let me try to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. So as I mentioned before, audience, we're gonna go and answer your questions, but if you have any more questions, please do write them in the chat and we'll answer them as we go. So first series of questions on brand creation. So what do I need to consider in creating my brand to start my e-commerce business?
Okay.
So
yeah, Nico, go ahead, please.
What I actually wanted to say before we started, we will do that quite interactive. I will be talking directly with Neha, so it won't be like a presentation from my side or only from Neha's side. We make it interactive. We wanted to have fun. We wanted to provide some questions if you have them. So that's why you might hear us sometimes talking at the same time. So what do I need to consider for the own e-commerce business? You need to consider multiple points, to be honest, especially in the brand creation. This is not just something what most of the people think, because only it might sound easy, right? It might sound simple, that it means that everyone can do it, and does it make it right? This is not the fact. So it starts from branding, which is the colors. There's a lot of stuff behind what Neha can talk about as well from a marketing perspective, and how important it is to stay aligned on the brand and branding overall.
Right, absolutely right, Nico. So now that you set up your company, you set up your bank account, you're all set to go. So next thing is to create your identity. So your brand is your identity. People are going to see you that way. They're going to see your brand, the colors, the fonts, the design, the layout, everything matters. So I know it's quite usual to see, people, okay, I just set up my company. Okay, right now I'll just make one in, Word document. I'll just create some sort of a symbol and go for it. Well, you can do that. There's nothing wrong in that, I would say. But see, it's basically there's a story behind why you started a company, why you started this e-commerce. There should be something that is differentiating yourself from the rest of the competition. So if you are in a position to, bring out that USP of yours in terms of a visual or the name of your brand, or even the fonts, if it's a kind of a fun kind of a thing, you can even use like a Comic Sans font. It reflects the your identity as a brand. So when it comes to branding, that's very crucial, because people are going to know you like this moving forward. So even if they see your ads or your name somewhere, they kind of reconnect. So again, it's not always about acquiring new clients. It's about, putting that impression in a client's mind, saying that, oh, I know this brand. See, if you see yellow, the first thing that comes to my mind, noon. Okay, everywhere it's painted yellow. I mean, so the colors matter, the name matters. If it's simple, see how simple is noon. It's even a child can say that, okay, I'm going to go to this website and purchase my, whatever things I want to buy. So this is, from my opinion, it's very important to give some thought when you're doing, especially this is my field, because I'm very passionate. It's like your baby, you're taking care of your baby. It's your, it takes a lot of time to choose a name for your child. So give that same sentiment to your brand while creating it. So once you do it right. That's my recommendation, I would say.
Yeah, this is perfect. On top of that, what we usually hear is that lots of startups, they're actually they don't know what they should do or where they actually should start. So it is actually quite simple if you know how to apply that. Right, if you're knowing your product already and you're knowing your audience already, makes it more easy to create your brand around that audience and around that product which you want to sell. If you don't have that yet, you can start it in a different way, but you definitely should consider who is your target audience and what is the segment or the age, because this will make a big impact. It's different if you market to 20 years old or to 45 years old. So this is something to keep in mind as well.
Absolutely. Like even Maria's brand, Kids NA. I mean, it's there on point. I mean, nobody has to explain the brand to you. It's there. I mean, Zishan, and first guess he's just, it's a kids clothing or kids. It has to do something with kids. So make it simple, make it easy, make it catchy, so that people will recall. It's easy to remember at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Moving on.
So how proper branding affects my e-commerce business, and is it possible to rebrand at any point, or is it something we need to restructure permanently or to structure permanently? I mean, it's a good question, to be honest. You can always rebrand, but it's better if you do it right at the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. No harm in rebranding. Again, see, it's how I see things. These are all like PR stunts, you can say. Maybe, okay, I launched a brand, I made a huge noise out of it. Now tomorrow, after a couple of years, okay, I want to change even for Facebook or anything, they change the size of the logo. I mean, the F. So they made a huge deal out of it. So any change, but don't go completely, if you've set your color, you set your tones, you set your your identity, don't go too much beyond that, because then they'll see you as somebody who's completely different, so they can't relate back to you. So every time you rebrand, make sure it's within the limits. So that'll make it easier for people to identify. And when you do the rebrand, make another PR stunt out of it. Okay, this brand changed their logo. You can make. I mean, it's all about marketing. It's all about how you sell your story, and give a story behind why did you rebrand. Again, there should be something behind. So every touch point is a content piece for you. It's a story for you. It's information, or it's content for you, for your social media, for your PR activities, for your website, everything. So this is how I see things. It's completely no harm in rebranding, but make sure that it's ideal to fall within the limits of your own brand guidelines.
Yeah, exactly. And even up from our side, our agency, we were always called Creative 971. But if you would look at our branding, maybe there's some old information still around. Like 5 years ago, definitely our logo looked different, the full touch and feel of the website looked different. So it's just the process of your brand evolving.
Exactly. So we have a similar case at Creative Zone also. This was 3 years ago, right, Zishan? Yeah, 3 years ago, we rebranded our Creative Zone. We changed the whole tagline also because our tagline was business setup simplified back then. Our main aim was to simplify your business setup for our clients. But then our vision changed to offer. We wanted to be like a one-stop solution. Like we're partnering with Nico and Creative 97. We have like 10, 15 different partners. So we wanted to be that one-stop solution for, for our client to do anything that comes to business. So that's when we change the whole tagline to business setup is just the beginning. So that's when from business setup simplified to business setup is just the beginning. So again, we made a huge stunt out of it. So we got the traction that we wanted with this whole rebranding. We created the logo in a much more sophisticated way. So yes, but completely we didn't change the colors. We still have our little zone pattern that we put out everywhere. So we still are in the limits, but it was a complete rebrand with the tagline. So if there's reason to rebrand, and if you see that you have more to accomplish or your vision has changed, definitely go for it.
Great. All right, moving on to the next question.
We wanted to target Middle East region in our e-commerce business. What are the factors you recommend to consider in the process? Yeah, so I would say one part which is very important, you should understand your target audience, right? Especially if we talk about drop shipping, we even had yesterday our Shopify meetup. We had one person from Shopify talking, and he was talking about general drop shipping worldwide. Right, and he mentioned it's a product around $25. It should be something where you can buy it as an effect, right? You don't even think about the price. And if you understand the UAE and you know already the average purchase on a cart is more than $100, then you would understand that you can do, if you drop ship a product to reach that level where you would say, oh, I just buy it out of effect, is sometimes slightly higher here. So you will not be limited, maybe not to go for products which are $30 or $40. Yeah. So as long you know the region and the audience, this is something which is important.
Agree. Again, see, especially the Middle East market, it's so diverse. I mean, it's like an international market here. You have people from all over the world who is settled in the UAE, especially. So it's a very, be sure of what you're selling. I mean, who is your target market? Again, as clearly what Nico said, identify the age, the gender, the nationality, because there are a million ways that you can promote by doing segmented targeting to these people, and you can reach the right target audience when it comes to the people within the region. So Middle East, as I see, it's an easy market because it's everybody's out there, and you have different flavors. Change the tone of your messaging when you talk to Western or Africans or Asians. You can always tweak your messaging style. So that's what we do also when we do our campaigns, have specific messages going out to specific target groups, so they see that it's personalized for them. So that's how I see how you can target the Middle East. Digital campaigns are the best way to reach out there. Everybody is on their phone. Everybody's on social media. So just leverage all this.
I would also like to add to Neha's point about the fact that the Middle East is so diverse. It's also incredibly competitive. So there's quite a lot of competition existing in the industry. So if you want to set up your business, you really need to find your niche and find your right demographic so that you can really take over that sort of area that you want to get into. And so being sure of who exactly you want to target and which demographic is really important. We have a question in the box. If you can read it in the question box, I'm going to read it over here from Philip. I tried targeting ME for DS, Metrics were great, however, conversion is quite bad. Website is in English, currency is set by location. We spent around $500 testing, but no results. Product was doing very good in the US. Is it shipping time maybe the problem, or no Arabic option? Nico, how would you interpret this?
Yeah, it depends. Let's say if you would run the same campaigns what you run in the US and you would want to run them here, you definitely need to consider that you need to adjust the marketing and the wording and how you present your product. For example, we had there, it was a quite large dropship store. They had their own brand already and they were selling shower heads. So shower heads were actually going okay in the USA and in Europe, but then they started it out here and it totally boomed, right? It really exploded. Why? Because most of the people here, and I'm pretty sure everyone who's listening now knows these shower heads, which you can buy in any kind of mall kiosk, right? So this is something which just everyone is known and everyone knows here the water quality, that you actually have that at home, that it's better. So it makes things sometimes easier if you know way more about your audience. Might be that it's cash on delivery, delivery related as well, because the mentality of how here orders will be taken is just a little bit different compared to US and Europe. Yeah, if you would say something with cash on delivery, no one would even understand what it is, right? It's just a different mentality how you purchase. And here, unfortunately, as you said, everything is very competitive. So sometimes the shopper is ordering a cash on delivery from 4 or 5 different platforms and just says, you know, whoever comes first, I pay, and the rest, I don't care. You know, like the mentality of purchasing is just a bit different. So this is something which you should or could consider as well. Yeah.
That's an interesting point, Nico, the cash and delivery bit.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next question on the screen. Why is it important to have a standard color or colors in creating my e-commerce brand?
Yes, hi. So as I've mentioned before, it's your colors that's an identity of your brand. So it's good for brand recall. Whenever you set your, I mean, I'm sure you'll be doing a lot of these digital campaigns or social media campaigns. The moment you see your colors out there, it's very important to, you know, for a person to relate it back to your brand. That's why I always stick to standard colors, because the more the colors, the more confused people can get. So it's always, you know, choose that right, you know, the colors, the fonts, the design layout, everything. If you have your own identity, it's much more easier. Maybe not in the short term, but at least after 6 months, 1 year, people will definitely start understanding who you are as a brand.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, the fact that you are not a retail store, you're not a brick and mortar store. Your app or your website is what people are seeing. So you want them to remember you and identify you from a sea of competitors. We have some questions in the chat. I'll try to get to them, but let's just move on from the ones on the screen.
As a startup, how can increase exposure for my brand and products? Yeah, how can I increase exposure for my brand and products? Yeah, this is, I mean, you can do it through any channel, right? So the exposure, you can do that for, or through social influencers. If you know that TikTok and Snapchat is quite good working here in our region, you could use different social platforms or channels. But yeah, I think it would be collaborations would be something which you should opt for.
Yes, absolutely. So again, as Nico mentioned, influencers is a good way. Most of them can be paid, because it cannot, I mean, it can be or it cannot be, I mean, on the expensive side, but I'm sure there are more collaborators, or if you do like sponsorships or partnerships together, if you have a tangible, you know, goods to, you know, give them and they can talk about it, it's more, maybe it's finding the right influencer. You don't have to go for the 1 million point, but you can go for the lower, I mean, not so famous influencers, but who has who produces original content and who has the reach for every post. collaborate with them, see how you can work together, give away a few freebies, let them use your products, let them give their feedback. So this is free exposure for your brand. So they can, ask them, you can talk about your brand if you like it, how did you find it? So this is good content to go out always. Again, in terms of social media is a very good channel. Have a good Instagram page, have a good Facebook page, do social media ads. Those are not very expensive also. So if you want to initially boost your presence, just spend a bit of money in the right channels so you get the reach. So first we need to put the word out there about the brand so that people can start talking about us. So we need to make sure update your website, update your Instagram post every 2 days, keep every day just post something on Instagram, introduce your products, your website, keep updating your website. The more updates you do to your website, Google loves change, it loves content that's always refreshed. So the more you update your website, your rankings tend to go higher. So keep these in mind when you do your when you optimize your website, your content, your social media, everything, so that it helps organically for viewers to organically come to your website.
Yeah.
All right, thank you guys. And we're moving on. Now questions regarding e-commerce marketing and sales strategy.
Mm-hmm. Should we just address the question in the chat?
Yes, we can. Nico, can you read that out? So you can scroll and.
It's from Eliel. It's hi DED. I have a DED LLC license. We're an IT system integration. Hope we can have an e-commerce website for product that we deal. Is it any mandatory to have any e-commerce? So I think I don't get your question. If you could just rephrase that, what exactly you would like, because yeah, you could sell any product online or almost any product online. So whether it's now a digital product or maybe a software integration application or connector, you can be sold online as well, for sure. So if you can rephrase the question.
I think he has a DED license, only product related to our services. So you have a DED LLC license and you're into IT integration, we hope. So you're into trading your IT. I mean, are you like a distribution company, or so you're planning to have like a website where you can sell your products? Is that possible? Is that what you're asking with a DED license, if I'm not wrong? Yes. Okay, so see, it depends. If you have a DED license, you're already, you've taken the distributionship of certain IT products, let's say. So it is allowed for you to set up your website and do the distribution through your website. That is possible with a DED license.
Yeah, I think this is something which you just can check directly with Creative Zone as well. They have their very quick update for you on these current regulations, because they changed. I think the last time we were involved in that, maybe like 6 months ago, there was something called activity portal for the DED professional licenses, which could be added. But this is something which you directly can check with Creative Zone. They know that in and out.
So maybe it's just a matter of adding that one activity to your, so it depends on what is your activity list in your existing DED license. We'll have to check that. Now, if there's a possibility of, as Nico mentioned, a portal integration or a e-commerce bit to it, definitely you can get started. And it's just a matter of adding one activity. It's not very expensive as well. It can be done very quickly.
All right. There's also a question from Mariam. It would be interesting to know your take on this to the speakers. Do you think Kids Any is an attractive brand name? I received a recommendation to change it. The idea behind that name: any kid has the right to be fashionable and wear quality clothes with affordable prices. I'd love to know your take on this, Neha and Nico.
Well, I don't see anything wrong with Kidzeni, to be honest. Yeah. Again, it's see what see. You should believe in your story, right? So what do you plan to sell here? What do you believe in? Okay, I believe my child can wear, fashionable clothes at a very reasonable price. So as long as you can sell that story, I think anybody can wear anything what they want. I honestly don't see anything wrong in the name. Or again, it's a very subjective topic, I would say. Maybe Zisha wouldn't like it, maybe Nico wouldn't like it, but trust me, I like the name Kidzeni. So again, it's very subjective. It's, as long as you have a strong emotion behind it, you can sell your story, go for it.
Yeah,
There'll
exactly.
be 100 people to give you opinions, trust me.
Yeah, this is totally correct, because end of the day, let's say for me personally, I don't mind about the name, right? So there's a lot of examples if you think about Apple or if you think about Windows, right? What is Windows? If you would just translate it, it's nothing which would be attractive or nice. It's just what happens, what's the story, who's behind, what vision is it, what ethics. Like there is a lot of behind what makes that brand. So the brand name itself, for me, it wasn't really important. So I didn't choose Creative 971. This was Julia, the CEO from the company. So from my side, I'm more interested what the audience thinks about that, which I want to target from a marketing perspective. Yeah, but from my side, if I hear it, I didn't think anything strange, to be honest. When I saw it or heard it, it's just okay, it's a kid store, which already says most probably you sell a good mix of clothes. So I wouldn't have anything against that, to be honest. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, speakers. We have one more question from Mohammed. After identifying the target audience, how to start advertising my brand? Should I advertise one product at a time or advertise the whole site? Or try advertising multiple products? How many products to start the e-commerce site with?
Yeah, that's a good one. So I can jump in. Usually, it depends on how you want to sell it and how you build your marketing or the strategy in general, right? Because let's say we have brands which are selling one product, but it's an entry product which is not really expensive, right? And if you will get the attention from the customer, which is maybe just interesting to get it on one product, and they will come to your site, they mostly explore, especially if you build up your website and the related products or the advertisement quite nice. So then they should be in the funnel or in the journey to explore way more. So it depends on what products you sell and what the strategy might be, but we have very good results on basically focusing on one product to get the attention, but then have the sales pitch or the story itself on the website, and then actually educating the customer what he might not even thought he might need because of the sales strategy behind.
All right, thank you for that. All right, so I can see that we've answered the questions on the chat right now. Let's move on to the list of questions we have on the slide. All right, so the first one, how can I identify a successful product for my e-commerce business in relation to what you were just talking about, Nico?
So what we would do here in general to find an e-commerce product, it always depends, right? One time you might not know what you should sell and you want to find a product. Let's say if it would be like that, because you don't mind what product you sell, you just want to go into e-commerce, then there is obviously a criteria list which you could make for yourself, right? You should find a product which the returns are not high. If you think about fashion or if you think about shoes, this is something which everyone will order multiple, right? And there it's already known that they might give you a return, which is end of the day, if you want to be a good company, e-commerce company, you want to provide that service and put that return slip already in, but it costs you end of the day as a brand. So you could make a priority list or a checklist where you could say, okay, the products with less returns, products which are light, products which can't break, products which are easy from a manufacturing. There is a lot, right? Or even if you would talk about socks or underwear or whatever you might talk about, because you can't return them, right? It's usually very, very easy, simple. So there is a lot of brands which actually started with socks and now are multi-million-dollar companies on a global level. So it depends more on Also, this would be how I would approach it if I don't know what product I could sell. I would do it with full criteria, which has it's very easy, scalable, and I won't be eaten up from operations or from other kind of points. Yeah, this is a good way how to identify a product.
Great. Moving to the next question, how can I increase my web traffic to make sure that they check out from the store? So how can you make sure that the traffic increases and that they close with you?
Okay, I'll answer that maybe. See, again, your website should be complete, I would say. Have good pictures of your products, have good product brief, make it the descriptions are very important. They need to know what exactly, because you can't, the touch and feel is not there. So you have to make sure in your description they actually feel your product. If it's, I'm talking example of clothing. So specify the fabrics, specify the cuts, specify the size, specify everything, so that you can literally, the person can visualize, the product. And also just make sure, as I said, make sure the website is complete. Now, if I make a purchase, what if, okay, I want to see your terms and conditions. Do you have that? Is there any hidden thing? Or what is your refund policy like? What does it, if something goes wrong, how do I contact your team? Is there like contact us page? Just make sure all these minor details are there in your website, because it makes a difference. It's ultimately the user experience. So it tends to get lost. What if I get lost? What if I can't see it? Have a shipment tracking system, so they know exactly, okay, tomorrow I can log in, I can see, okay, it's been packaged, it's shipped from point A to point B, okay, in 5 days it will reach my home. Fine, at least, okay, I can see where it's physically being moved. So if you take care of these elements, I feel that it's again the trust that you build at the end of the day. Why would it, if you want to attract repeat clients, they're much more easier to, far less expensive than acquiring new clients. So make sure their user journey, the customer journey, we call it, make it perfect, make it seamless, so that they come back and they will definitely recommend referrals. Okay, go to this site. Why would somebody recommend your site? It's only because of the user journey. Make sure you ask your customers to leave reviews, good reviews, because honestly, personally, if I go for a new shop, I go to Google, check out the reviews for this specific site. If everything is good, then yeah, it automatically builds the trust. So that's what I would, primarily focus: gaining trust and a seamless customer journey, and giving the right description of your products, making a very mobile friendly website. So most of them right now, we're all on our phones. Nobody goes to your laptop and to buy spaces. So make sure that it's mobile friendly, and it's all about the experience. The lesser the click a person can make, the person tends to check out from your site.
I also would like to add that these days, the modern consumer is probably not going to be inclined to make a purchase right away. They're pretty informed and have access to learning about products and learning about what the best options are. So I know myself as a user, I go to a website, I might add it to my cart, but I don't want to buy it yet because I'll see wherever else I can get a good deal. But what the website will do is make sure that they are targeting me wherever I go. So now the website knows that I visited them. So next time I open Google or Facebook or Instagram, their trackers are advertising and targeting me, saying that, hey, you were interested in headphones. So now we're going to show you ads for headphones from our website. So you come back. So it's really important to work with advertisers at Facebook and Google, so you know that you can target people who have previously visited your website, so you can ensure that you're closing with them.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's called, yeah, it's all about retargeting, right? Absolutely what Zishan said. It's clearly, they follow you, the ads follow you, everything follows you, so that it's fresh in their mind. So it's pretty important to get these basics right, and you're good to go.
Right.
Next, from e-commerce perspective, what you could consider immediate effects that you maybe have something which you can take away would be product shipping prices, right? Let's say if you have shipping prices outlined already, as additional charge, right? Rather remove that, include it in your product pricing. The product pricing, as said, this is very sensitive, so this is something which you should obviously check. Some insights from e-commerce statistics, it is just how it is depending on what customer group you target on. Is your product mass market? Do you compete against the mass market, or is it more a niche product? Let's say the study is from the UAE, was in 2021, that we have around 85% of the shoppers, they are willing to pay more if they have a great user experience, right? So even if you ask myself, I'm 100% honest, if I go to a website and I need something, for example, a balloon, or someone has birthday and I want to buy them something, and I will check out the first 2-3 sites, the sites which makes me most confident and which I can trust most, I'm going to purchase, because these stuff, it's just mass market products. If I buy a balloon like for 132 or 135, in my case, I don't care about that, right? It is like 85% more likely and higher if you have a very good user experience. The user experience mine's not, yeah, it is like kind of not giving the customer any kind of open questions. So everything should be covered, as Neha has said as well, whether it's product description, be upfront. Even if you're drop shipping and you might take some time that the product comes to you, do it because your supplier, international supplier, needs XYZ time. Right? Don't write it's tomorrow and it takes just 3 weeks, because you won't have the customer, and the bad word he's talking about your brand is most probably more harmful. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Neha and Nico. Moving to the next question. I would like to know if digital marketing is something I can do for my own business, or is this something I need to ask for assistance of a proper agency? I think Neha could be a good person to answer this question.
Right. See, there's no harm doing it on your own. But there's a lot of metrics that goes into, setting up a campaign, targeting the right profiles. So I would recommend get help, or go for, do some research or go for a course and understand the basics of digital marketing or Facebook marketing, and SEO, SEM, all these terms. Get a feel of these things. I would say, see, it's easy, it's not easy. So if you get it right, you can get it right. So that's why we all tend to go with an experienced agency where they've been doing this all their lives. I know, see, you've just set up a business, you're new, you can't do your finance, your marketing, your operations, your sales. It's going to be too overwhelming as a new entrepreneur. So it's always good to ask for help, I would say. So it's okay, I would say, go for a proper agency. They will guide you the right way. They would understand your product. They will tell you exactly where to target, how to run your campaigns. So I would recommend go with an agency if you can afford it. Again, conditions apply.
Nico, would you like to give your input?
To be honest, there is nothing more to make an input. The only thing, if you can afford it, go with an agency. Obviously, if you can't afford it, might be a freelancer who's really skilled in that what he does, it might be fine as well, right? As long that person or that company has experience, right, and they can show you something that they're able to pull it off, or they're actually only like really doing that, then yeah, this would be the state of to take someone who knows what he does, especially in marketing.
Sure. Thank you, Neha, Nico. Let's move to the next question. Elil, I have seen that you raised your hand on Zoom. So if you have a question, please type it on the chat so we can answer that. Moving to the next question. Oh, we have one here from Mohammed. Can you recommend 3PL agency with good rates and service?
Yeah, we can definitely recommend, but this is more, I would need to understand, okay, what products do you sell? Are these small products? Is it like furniture? Is it like beds or mattresses? So depending on what products you might sell and where you sell them to, let's say in what country in the UAE, will it be international to the UAE? So pet supplies, if it's not like these cat trees or stuff like that, it is smaller products. So you could go with any of them because they have the same pricing almost, right? So if you think about the UAE itself, what you can do, what we send our own customers to, is Aramex, right? DHL is a little bit more expensive, but if you think about what might be the cheapest or the best rates, I would say that Aramex comes with very attractive rates for the startups. But as said, depending on what you want to bring on the table, sometimes just a UPS or a FedEx, even the impression, because everyone knows it is just more expensive and you have someone else appearing and bringing that, and there's a different service behind. So depending on the products, but for pet products, this is, yeah, it's good to go.
Right. And another question, what about bigger products like beds and scratch? I believe it's scratch posts.
Yeah, so this is something which we have quite often. Let's say in the UAE, if you would go to Aramex or any other kind of company and you would ask them about a 20 kg packet, they would be very much worried about the prices they will tell you, because they are just doing that by volumetric rate, which means if it's just heavy, it will cost you quite a lot. So what we do here is we have a person, which is Mohammed. He has a company, it's called Outromise. It's a fulfillment center. What happened here that Emirates did, they have a service which they bring the luggage to the customers. At the time from Corona, they started doing that for e-commerce as well. So he signed up with that company, with that supplier, and he's able to deliver, for example, a 25 kg packet for the same rate what you would pay a smaller one, because just the logistics and delivery were utilized from them. I'm not really sure if they're still doing that, but I would most probably give you in these cases to Outromise. It's a UAE-based fulfillment center. Yeah.
Right. And now let's move on to the questions on the screen. I wanted to start a Shopify store for fitness products. What are the important points I need to do to promote it and target the best audience for my brand?
Yeah, important points, what you would need to do on a website perspective, this would be your content, right? Depending, let's say, if you target the best audience would be understanding, okay, what are your products or for whom are your products, right? As much more niche you go, as long you have the audience, this is something which can be like really impactful, because you compete less, right? If you go as much more to a mass market, you compete to way more. But yeah, depending on for whom it is and for what activity it might be, because sports or fitness products, they're broad. Is it like MMA, fighting, boxing? Is it like dancing or whatever it might be, right? Or yeah, a lot of different stuff. So it's the images, the content, the video, the strategy, like all of that, what anyways makes your brand. This is extremely important that it focus for that. Yeah.
You can even collaborate with these fitness influencers if to increase your reach. It would be a good way to for brand exposure maybe. And even when you do these social campaigns or anything, I mean, you can actually go to niche targeting in terms of people who are interested in wellness or fitness, or you can actually categorize your campaigns to a certain extent that it reaches the right person, and it's not too broad. You can narrow down the the targeting so it reaches the right people.
I have a question from Oshio Kai, who basically works in real estate and has a real estate business. Would you recommend a Shopify store for real estate?
I mean, for us, let's say if we talk about Shopify, we usually talk about the platform, the e-commerce platform. So you won't not see that this is a Shopify store specific. Let's say if you would be able to come up with something to sell online your service, or you sell online your real estate, yes, you could use Shopify for that. But depending on how you do that, if it would even make sense from a price point, right? You have payments, you have fees which are applied, you have a payment gateway. So depending on what service it might be in the real estate industry, yes, you can do that, because you could sell physical products or service products as well through Shopify. Yeah.
Great, thanks, Nico. And Neha, I have a question for you from Chris. Hi, I'm planning to launch a toys brand, and my target audience is firstly parents. In terms of content writing, how can I find talented content writers in this specific field? Any advice on how to find them? I'm not sure if you need a content writer on this specific field. If you find a good content writer, they can do that. But how do you find them, Neha?
So there's a lot of channels out there where, for the best channel, I would say is go to Upwork. You find dozens of freelancers who are willing, you can exactly type in these categories like, okay, toy products, parents, target audience parents. Okay, this is my product brief. This is how I want my language to be. You will get suggestions from Upwork saying that like there'll be 10 shortlists, and you can actually go and view each of their profile, see sample writings of what they do, and then shortlist them based on what you feel is comfortable. So Upwork, I would say, is a brilliant platform where you can find it's not just for content, for anything, for web development, for designing, for branding, anything. You can go to Upwork, look for people, and they'll be willing to, they're all freelancers basically, so they'll get the job done for you.
That's Upwork, right?
Upwork.
UPWK.
WORK. Yeah.
Right. Right. So let's move to the next question then. Are there any marketing tools for SMS, emailing through Shopify? If yes, what are the benefits I can get by using it? Nico?
Yeah, we do have a lot, especially in our region. Let's say if we're talking about SMS, it is just more common that we will have advertisement over SMS as a marketing channel here in the UAE or in our region. So this is something which you can have software plugged in, which will update every kind of notification what you would receive as a purchaser, as a buyer from you as a store, whether it's an order confirmation email, whether it's a shipping update, whether the shipping is on the way, like all of these notifications you can, as a store owner, implement as a application, a Shopify app, right, to have that done as a SMS as well, because this is again how you communicate through what channels with your customers. It would help you, especially if it's multi-channel or omni-channel, right? As many more channels you will go, the better it is. For example, email, it's exactly the same. We have extremely good email marketing software out there, which you can create all of that custom flows. So for example, a lot of people ask us, does email marketing actually work? Is it not too old? And we tell them, yeah, it works if you do it right. But what means right? It means you need to make it personalized. If the customer has too many chances to see the content he wants, to consume it in a way how he wants it. For example, he would follow you on Instagram, but he would block you on emails, because if your emails are not on point, or if it's not an interest of him, why should he have that? And people are doing that. It's not like it is new, it is around. But if you do that customized, what I mean by that, for example, someone purchases a product which is maybe for female, right? So that we have a female marketing list, which automatically that person will be pushed into that list. Then maybe the purchase was over 2,000 dirham. At the same time, you will mark them with VIP. So you have a marketing list for a female VIP, and based on that, you could send different marketing advertisement or templates to that person, and they are then more likely to look at. For example, I like the color black, right? I'm wearing a black shirt, but let's say if I would buy a watch which is black from anywhere online, and they would target me and send email marketing about a new black limited edition or carbon limited edition watch, I'm more likely to look into that and convert than they're just saying I have a 5% cross store marketing going on, which everyone actually still does. I don't know why, but this is not how it works. I think it just takes some time until all of the brands will adopt. If you look at the US and Europe, you will not find that, because email marketing works very well if it's done right. Yeah. So we have these softwares which are very simple, and you could set them up even yourself now.
Right. And Mohammed would like to know how to get a cost-effective customer support service, that is a line number or a staff answering calls. Neha, would you like to answer his question?
Yes, so Mohammed, we at Creative Zone actually offer this solution because we have like a dedicated business hub solutions that one of the features is getting like a dedicated landline number for your business, and we also do phone answering services for you. So definitely do get in touch, and we'll connect you to the right people to, you know, if you want to take this forward.
Excellent. All right, moving on. What is the most cost-effective way you can recommend to use and drive new sales in an existing e-commerce brand?
Cost-effective way, again, see, it comes to the bottom line. Just your website should be, you know, the more, see, what is our main aim is to gain organic traffic. So that's the free, you know, people that comes and visit your site. Why would somebody visit to your site? It's because your site is, you're healthy, it's visually appealing. So make sure the content on your website, give some thought to it. I know it's tricky. You wonder why. Okay, it's just like a place where people come and click. No, it's very important in term, even for Google SEO rankings. Also, if your brand, if I type a certain keyword, fashion, the, you know, fashion brands, or where can I buy, you know, some clothing. All these keywords should be there on your website, so that when a user searches these terms, your website will be on top. So this, you'll have to optimize your landing pages or your website so that these keywords are included, and there are, you know, backlinks to your website going from different other sites also. So just do a bit of SEO work so that you get a lot of organic leads coming your way. Another cost-effective type of advertising would be social media advertising. Again, if you do it the right way, you can get leads with a cost per lead of less than, say, 30 dirhams. Again, it depends on what you're planning to sell, how you plan to sell, and depending if your margins are much higher, why don't you do social media and then consequently do like SEM, like go for AdWords. It can be I mean, there's so many players. As Zishan mentioned, it's a very competitive world out there. So everybody is bidding for the same keywords. So it can get a bit pricey. So if you set up your campaigns the right way, you can get new sales, new inquiries coming in. And always make sure you have the subscriber list with you. Send them email blasts. If there's a new promotion, send it to them. You know, engage with your existing client base. Give them freebies or give a free shipping or whatever it takes, you know, to retain that client. So these are the steps that I would recommend for, you know, just to get your brand up and running.
Yeah, that's totally correct. The other part, what you could do is the collaborations, what was mentioned already. But let's say some of the startups, they are very worried if they start spending advertisement budget and they have traffic, but it does not convert, or it might not convert, right? So this is something which a lot of people get very frustrated, especially if it's the beginning or it's just the first time that you do something like that. But usually you could reuse all of that, right? Even if you would know, okay, you're targeting, you have a brand, maybe you're in the sports industry or whatever it is, you target a certain niche of customers. And if you have traffic from them, whether they buy from you or not, you could make collaborations, right? Let's say if you would make a collaboration with a streetwear brand in urban style, kind of in the UAE, right? And they will see you have traffic and they might want to work with you. This is the easiest way because you have spent money on them already, but you utilize that traffic as leverage for your brand in that audience, and then just see if you can start any kind of collaboration, whether brands or influencers.
Great. And that is the last of our questions on our list. So we are done, and just in time, we are done with our webinar. If you have any more questions, audience, please let us know in the chat. We're here for a minute, but I'd like to thank you, Nico and Neha, for giving us your time. I can see people asking for the recording. We'll make sure that the recording is sent to you. All our recordings are being put up on YouTube. So if you go to Creative Zone and search the title of this webinar, you will find it. But yeah, thank you so much for being a part of this, to the guests and to the attendees.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Perfect. And Neha and Nico, I just want to trouble you. I think my team over here is trying to take a screenshot to post on social media. So let's just take a quick picture. I hope Olivia, who's watching, will get the screenshot in 3, 2, 1. I hope you got that. All right. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
Yeah, and on 25th, we have our in-person event. So if you have not seen that or heard it yet, 25th, we will meet up in person and we will have an evening where we will go sometimes a little bit more in detail, right? Because we can directly connect. And it's, I think, one of the first events what I actually do in person, apart from Seamless exhibition. So yeah, looking forward.
Perfect. And if you would like to know more information about Creative 971, you can visit the website, which I'm going to link below, and use the code THANKS971, which is an exclusive discount code for the attendees of this webinar, if you'd like to receive e-commerce and dropshipping assistance from the agency. All right. Thank you so much for attending, and we'll see you next week, where we will be speaking with Julia from Creative 971 on how to build your e-commerce website.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good night.
Bye.